God's will is a person for every one of us. When I was 7 years old, I walked an aisle at Brookside Baptist Church in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was located right off of the river, and so they called it Brookside. I don't know why they didn't call it Riverside, because it was a river and not a brook. Maybe there's a brook somewhere around it, too. But I walked forward when I was 7 years old because at age 7, I had two older brothers and an older sister. And, of course, an older mom and an older dad also. And all of them had gone forward and now could be called Christians. And I was the only one that couldn't say that. Whenever anybody would ask that question, I couldn't say, yeah, I'm a Christian. Whenever they would pass the Lord's Supper plate, I just have to watch it go by, and I wanted so much to get a drink of that juice because you're about thirsty about the time they have it in church services. And I wanted to taste what that bread tasted like, but I never could do that. And that bothered me, and it ate on me and ate on me until finally I decided I'm going forward. And I can remember 7 years old, the preacher, Dr. Maples there at Brookside Baptist, lifted me up, introduced me to everybody. I said, this is George McGraw's boy. He's come forward this morning, and my dad was a Sunday school superintendent. My mom was a teacher, and so they knew him, and lifted me up and baptized me that night. But, you know, I walked away from that church that night, walked into later years and my teenage years, and I really wasn't any different. Because I went forward that morning because I wanted to be a Baptist. I wanted to have the same label that everybody else in my family had. I wanted to be treated like them. I wanted to have their reputation with other people. But I wasn't necessarily a Christian because I never met the person that day. When I was 20 years old, God began to convict me in a way I'd never experienced in my life. And at age 20, I met the person. And I tell you, it's a lot of difference between the person and the religion. Because when I met the person, it just transformed me in a moment. I didn't think the same. The way I approached life, the way I thought about my past, the way I approached other people totally changed in a moment in time because a person came into my life. God has a will for you to meet a person. That person's name is Jesus Christ.